Welcome, people. Today I interview a friend that I met in the UK. My guest today is Emilia, and she's here to help me learn some cultural information about Bulgaria. Welcome, Emilia, and thank you so much for being here.
Well, of course, Sissy, even if that interview is a way postponed in time, as we agreed to do it like before Christmas. And look at what time is now. It's actually 3rd of March.
No problem at all.
What I'm going to say first, before you ask me any question, is that you actually decide to learn about Bulgaria in a precise, correct time, because today is a national holiday in Bulgaria, 3rd of March. The whole world is celebrating with us, even though that quite a lot of the history books and everything they're trying to change actually on today's date. We are being freed from Turkish slavery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, actually, on the 3rd of March, 1888, we've been freed from the Russians. The Russian actually helped us with General Gurko, who actually leads the army here, the Russian army, to free us from the Turks.
Wow, what a coincidence. Amazing information.
Well, you know, when we scheduled it last week, I actually picked it up like quite on time.
Any other information you would like to tell us at the beginning, or shall we
It
start?
is the beginning of March, so as you already met our tradition, as I gave you once, we are giving like bracelets or like different souvenirs with red and white color. We are celebrating the month of March, and we are giving Martenitsa to our close friends, our relatives, and pretty much neighbors and everybody, so that the people can be healthy through the whole year. And so the white color is symbolizing your health, and the red color is symbolizing the fertility of the trees and stuff around us, like the fruit trees and all types. It's kind of like a really old tradition, but we are keeping it on. We are keeping it going.
So, do you wear this all year round?
No, we are giving Martenitsa usually in the beginning of March, like we are talking about 1st of March. Of course, you can give it through the month, later through the month. If you didn't see the person to whom you prepared the Martenitsa, you can give it to him later. But after that, you can take it off once you see either a stalk, either one other spring bird, which I just forgot the name of, or you can see a blooming tree, what later through the year that tree can give some fruits. After that, you're taking off the Martenitsa and you're putting it on an actually blooming tree.
Wow.
Yeah, and according to the folk tales, that tree on which you've put your bracelet, it's going to give much, much more fruit than the other trees.
This is really interesting. We do have the same, let's say, bracelet of white and red as a custom, but for us it's really simpler. Anyway, my parents told me is that you wear this so the sun won't burn you for the month of March. But your custom actually makes more sense, like the reason behind, let's say.
Well, I'm not really into the folk tale, not specifically about Martenitsa, you know, but this is something what I remember from my childhood. Mm-hmm. Kind of like people talking around me. I mean, when you're a kid, you're asking like many questions. And some of them are making sense when someone is giving you an answer, and some of them doesn't make sense, so...
That's exactly what we want. We want the childhood memory, we want all these things. So I'm gonna start with the first question. When you were ill in your childhood, what kind of special healthcare practices or homemade remedies do you recall receiving from your parents?
Oh, Jesus. I mean, you could ask me a bit more simple question. I mean, I need to ask you for which illness specifically so I can give you the specific treatment.
Oh my God, please start with the list. I don't know, anything you want to say.
Okay, so when I was a kid, I don't know why, but I was always coughing. I mean, every single winter I was coughing. So my mom and my grandma, they kind of like came out with a really like, I don't know even to say like a icky cure, but it was actually helping though. It was really helping. So they were calling it paws, like a dog paws or a bear paws. I mean, pick a paw. So 2 pieces of newspaper. You're making holes in it, like either with a needle, either with a pen, like just the sharp part. You're making holes and you're putting honey on it. And they were putting that on my both lungs, on my back, but none of that should touch the spine. And I needed to sleep with that honey on my back. And it was, I mean, I remember the noise, what was like the smushing all over around when you lay down in bed. So that was for cooking. They were making different types of tea. So I can drink tea all the time. That was like for cooking issues. It wasn't like for anything else specifically. But pick yourself something. My grandma was putting leaves from cabbage on her shoulder because she said that she was having a pain in her shoulder. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is not made specifically on me, but pick it up yourself. I mean, what illness do you need to cure with a not medical remedy or something?
So, for example, if you had a flu?
Okay, if you have a flu, well, now the people are using ginger with honey. I mean, this is coming from the West, obviously, but while ago they were just stuff you with antibiotics. It wasn't any remedy. I mean, if you have a fever more than 38 degrees, you need an antibiotic. There is no other cure.
We have this chicken soup we make, and it's supposed to cure everything.
Oh, do you know those white stuff? What are coming out like on your tonsils, like in your mouth? Mm-hmm. We were removing those ourselves. So on a pencil, really long pencil, you're putting some cotton in the end of it, where is the eraser usually. And with that part, you're wrapping it out with the thread and you're dipping it in a bit of honey. And after that, in a bit of bicarbonated soda. And after that, with all that concoction, you are rubbing your tonsils until all the white is out.
Can you describe a special cultural practice you were doing as a child with your family or friends?
Well, it's not much of a cultural practice. As I remember, my family, they weren't following any actually cultural practices, you know. I mean, we were celebrating like different holidays in different ways, but it's not like a cultural practice. Usually on Christmas time, like not New Year's Eve, because they were really strict about, not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. They were really strict that this is only family members, you know, only the household actually members. And after that, on the Christmas day, I do remember visiting my grandparents in their village outside of the city. And all of our family was there, like my sister, my mom, my dad, my other grandma, and grandfather, uncles, my aunts, my cousins. Like, pick it yourself, like we were 30 people and more there, so that we can celebrate Christmas on the next day with the nice pork chops.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
So, can you think of a social behavior or a thinking pattern that most of the adults in Bulgaria have, and you think this is because of the way they were raised?
Yes. So there is one thing what is coming to my mind, like, and it's really, really bright. All of the people here care what the other people think about them. What are the neighbors going to say? What are the people going to say? What do you think you're doing? The people are going to talk about you and things like that. Everybody was like raising their children in that way. Don't do that because the people will speak. Don't do the other thing because the people will speak. Don't shout out because the people will learn. Yeah, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, definitely.
Also, I don't know why, but they were putting so much clothes on us, so many clothes. Like, you can start with like with the underwear. After that, you have another type of underwear on the top. You're having we were having at least 4 types of underwear on us, like one with long sleeve, one with short sleeve, tank top, and after that you're having a shirt, a t-shirt, and you were having jacket on the top.
Was this because of the weather, or?
No, I have no idea. This is how our parents were dressed as kids, so they were dressing us exactly the same way. I mean, 35 degrees outside, but you need to go out with stockings and pants on the top, like trousers on the top.
Do people still do this? So they had this as children, but as you grow up, do you see that people keep wearing those many?
No. I'm talking about specifically about my mom and my fiance's mother and his parents, obviously. But I mean, the older people, as older they're getting, that's more clothes they're putting on. I mean, I can see people in around the age of 80 and older dressing exactly the same way as they dressed before. But not in the new days, not in the new families, not in the younger ones.
I see. Let's say that somebody would ask you to create a card postal to promote the town you live. Which iconic building would you choose to display? And could you describe this building to us?
Yes, I will actually put on that postcard my high school, and there are lakes in my city. They were built up. I don't know that you've heard, but we used to have a king in Bulgaria, and my high school used to be built up to be the palace of that king, King Ferdinand, and it is made in Bulgarian letter F. If you see the lakes, those specific lakes, they're built up for him. They're not natural. They are as well in the letter F. So you can see like two big circles, and in the middle you can see like a alley where you can walk between the lakes, and it's all built with flowers and stuff, and it's really, really nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is according to Bulgarian letter F. I mean, please don't imagine anything else when I say two circles and an alley in the middle.
Could you please describe to us a local festival or a cultural celebration? What is the celebration for? What are some common cultural practices there?
The nearest celebration, what we will have in my city specifically, is going to be the first spring day. It is an official holiday in my city, and we are celebrating it as a Kustendilska prolet. This is actually how we are pronouncing it. There are going to be quite a lot of celebrations. We are having a park. It is a mountain park next to the city. Usually the people are going there with it, if the weather is nice, of course. The people are going there and they're enjoying barbecues and they're enjoying festivals. We are picking out our own Miss Spring. They're girls gathering, but they need to be girls under age of 18. And they're gathering, wearing different dresses and stuff. So the public is picking up the Miss Spring for the city for that year. And after that, that Miss is leading the troop around the park and walking around and stuff. I mean, usually the Misses don't have any special responsibilities. They're just, crowned as the Miss Spring, and that's it, like the prettiest girl of them all for the year. And later on through the year, we're having like different church festivals and different village festivals, actually. Each village is having their own festival for different dates. They're having their own dates. I just can't remember the dates. I just remember of my village where my grandma is living, as this is one of the biggest holidays in Bulgaria as Orthodox Church. The Saint Bogorodica, the God's Mother, they're celebrating the God's Mother, and it's on August the 15th, and it's 3 days festival, like drinking, singing, like dances and all other stuff. You can go and buy many things on those festivals, usually like really crappy toys for the kids. I mean, I don't know why, but they're really crappy. I mean, you're going there, you're generally buying something because it is looking nice, and you're giving it to the kid next to you. For me, usually that's my nieces. You're giving them the toy, and 5 minutes later, that toy is down on pieces. You can buy caramelized apples on those festivals, usually cotton candy, creams made like ice cream, but it's not cold. You can see it like it's, those soft melted ice creams, how they're putting it like on the sweet ink, and it's like, I'm gonna have ice cream, and in the end you're just taking a lick of it or taking a bite of it, and it's, oh, that's not cold. What the hell is that? It's not ice cream. And things like that. There are quite a lot of merchants over there. Usually there is always someone with pets, like parrots that are a species specifically, monkeys, snakes from time to time, so that the people can take photos on those things. And there is a lot of drinking, usually. A lot of drinking.
In my village, when it's the celebration of the Mother of Jesus in the 15th of August as well, we make a lottery. So people buy numbers, and then the gift could be like a goat, which is useless for people like me who were living in the city. But it was fun just to participate in this.
Well, fair enough. We don't do lottery. Usually when you go on something like that, you're just paying, and you're having fun of the live music and stuff. They're like folk music going on all the time.
I think we're very similar to that. We have this as well. We celebrate this. This is a big celebration for us as well. Could I ask you for the celebration you mentioned before about the spring? Does it have a particular date every year or?
21st of March.
And you mentioned that people can buy things when they go to such celebrations. And my next question was, when you go to folk festivals in the countryside, what kind of folk art do people sell as well? So what kind of local made products do people sell?
So you can buy crockery, clay dishes, what you can use at home so that you can serve when you have guests around and you like to be like typical Bulgarian stuff. So there is one big clay pot what you can use to put in the oven, because if you put it on the cooker it's gonna blow up. But if you put it in the oven, it's really nice because it's working like a slow cooker, and everything is really tasty because it's actually clay. You can buy some really nice paintings of old style houses, like what was it like in the past. It is really nice. We still have cities in Bulgaria presenting those houses and stuff, and they're built up like city museums on their own, like the whole city is a museum and stuff. You can buy things like that. It's not specifically about the festival and things like that, but it's typical Bulgarian. I mean, you can't really buy anything what is typical for that festival, except maybe some kind of a picture of a saint and stuff.
Could you tell us if somebody would like to listen to Bulgaria's traditional or folk music, what instruments should a person expect to listen to, or if there are any special singing practices that the singers are doing?
Yes, we do have our own instruments. So we do have, the Scottish pipes. We do have Bulgarian pipes. They're made from goat skin. I know it is sounding barbaric, but they are really, really old, and usually they are being made after the goat is dead on its own. They are not slaughtering goats so that they can make pipes. Also, we do have like kaval. It is called kaval, and it is looking a lot like flute, but it is not a flute. It's having nothing to do with the flute. We do have an accordion, which is, people are going to say like the French are using the accordion, but our is way different than the French. And we have drums, but they're not grounded to the floor. They're not on the floor. The people are actually carrying it. And for singing practices, I do have something for you so that you can listen to it. And I'm gonna tell you a bit more about that song.
Oh, wow, okay.
Can you hear how she's making it all long, like words and letters?
Yes.
Okay, I do believe that that's quite enough because the song is actually really, really long. So about that song, I'm gonna tell you a bit more about it. So this specific Bulgarian singer is Vala Balkanska, and the song is Leo de Luhajdutin. And this song is the first song on a Voyager going out of NASA. They're using that song when they shoot out the first like space station. Yeah, and you can listen a lot of commonly things here. Of course, there are faster things, slower things. There are dances according to the songs, and it's really rhythmical. I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm having like a goosebumps at the moment. Every single time when I listen to that song, I'm having goosebumps.
No, it's amazing. And so far, Bulgarian culture sounds so rich. I can tell as well that it sounds like the roots come from really old times.
It is coming from really old time. I mean, I don't know, are you aware of, but before we became Bulgaria, that it was Slavic tribes here, that it was really like old Bulgarian tribes, like Thracians, that it was like Bulgaro tribes and stuff. Also, the Huns who used to try to attack China and stuff, they're saying that part of those tribes are here in Bulgaria. And they all created it. That's why we, the Bulgarians, we don't have like a typical image of us. Like, for the Russians, are they saying like pale skin, blue eyes, either ginger, either blonde hair. We don't have that here. We have everything. We have all the palettes. We have all the colors. Just because of the different people passing through the land and decide to stay here when the country was built up.
No, it's really amazing. All these small, let's say, layers of cultures and of groups, they have formed something really beautiful that you guys have today to remember and to read and get inspired.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there a scary folk tale that parents tell their children so they comply?
Yeah, they're actually having books with all stuff. Like the easiest one coming to my mind is Grandma Bear, Grandma the Witch, like we're having specific names about them. But it's a bit more like they're sounding like Baba Metza and Baba Yaga, for which I actually saw that they made a show about Baba Yaga, like in Facebook and stuff, that someone was explaining the Slavic person, Baba Yaga, and they're scaring them with those characters. Also, quite a lot of parents are trying to scare their kids with the dark. It's nothing specific in the dark, it's just the dark itself, which for me, to be honest, it's a bit stupid because you are making your kids to be terrified when it's dark outside. I mean, they will not want to stay alone in the room. They will not want to sleep alone in the night. But mostly it's like, I'm gonna tell Baba Metza to come and take you if you don't comply and you don't do what I'm telling you to do. So Baba Metza is the Grandma Bear. I mean, when you hear Baba Metza, you can visualize like a giant bear, but it's a female. I mean, I don't know how you can see a giant bear and you will know like, oh wait, that's female, but you're visualizing it. Also, Baba Yaga, it's kind of like, you can imagine a really old woman with a lot of wrinkles on her face, like a really big nose, what is having like from those spots thing, dressed really bad. You can imagine some kind of a head of frog or a bat in her house, and it's deep in the woods, and you can imagine that woman will actually come and take you and eat you if you don't behave.
We have babulas, which is male, and he will come to eat you as well if you don't listen to your parents.
On different parts of Bulgaria, I think that they're having like different characters and different scary tales so that they can make kids comply, but pretty much this is what I know. In the deep dark woods, there is a Baba Yaga waiting for you. She's gonna eat you. I'm gonna bring you to her if you don't comply. Who do you think is going to pick up your toes, your toys and stuff? And it's a difficult childhood here in Bulgaria. If you are terrified to go in the woods because you might meet Baba Yaga, but thanks, but no.
I was wondering if there was ever made some kind of movie in Bulgaria or any kind of a representation of these characters ever in the TV.
I think that there are some animations, but to be honest, since I grew up, I am not really interested in those stuff. I mean, I know that Baba Yaga and Baba Meta are fictional characters, so. And to be honest, like the new generation, for instance, I'm visualizing my sister as a mom. She's trying not to terrify her kids with those stuff because she realizes that the way they were scaring us to comply, it's really, really wrong because my sister couldn't sleep on like in the dark alone for a really long time. I mean, I'm talking about the time when we were teenagers. She actually stopped leaving the lights turn on over the night. So she knows that was wrong. So she's finding other ways now for the kids to comply. So it's a bit more like forgetting the fiction of Baba Yaga and Baba Metsa now.
You raised a very important topic here that it's good to remember the tradition of, your culture and everything. But yeah, there are some things that it's better to remember as an adult than leave them as a child.
Yeah, it was wrong. And I don't mind saying it like that. It was wrong. It is wrong to terrify the kid from the dark because that kid, it will eventually end up in the dark, even if it's just in the toilet forgetting to turn on the light.
Yeah. And it's everywhere, of course. It's not just a Bulgarian tradition. I mean...
Yeah, it's a bit more like everywhere.
Okay, and speaking of things that hold us back from doing things, can you name a superstition that most people in Bulgaria hold?
Superstition, huh? People believe that if a black cat cross your way, you need to spit 3 times behind your shoulder, behind your right shoulder.
Oh.
Yeah, this is something. I have no idea why, as I have never been superstitious. I have never been. It's just one of those things. What if the people around me know me really well, they will know that I don't follow things like that. I mean, I am not really going about those made up things. I mean, if it doesn't have any logical explanation, then I don't believe it.
Yeah. I don't think they ever have a serious explanation behind.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's... I have no idea why. I mean, what the hell that black cat done to you so that you need to spit 3 times behind your shoulder? But yeah, this is something. Let's see now. I will try to think of something else as well. I mean, all around the world, it's known that if you broke a mirror, it's going to be like 7 years of bad luck. Honestly, I have no idea. Oh, they're saying, so if you see a stork during a flight, your ear is going to be good. Like, I have no idea why. But if you see him on the ground, your ear is not going to be that good.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, you know those albino animals and stuff?
Yes.
So if you see, the bird swallow, if you see a white bird of that, you will have the best luck ever. They are really, really rare. Everywhere the albino animals are really rare. So the same with that bird. Oh, and also it is saying that if a pigeon have droppings on you, get some dropping on you, you need to go and play the lottery. This was some luck.
I wonder if it ever worked.
I am seriously doubting that.
Okay, and let's move to the last question of the section.
Okay.
And it's about the language. So are there any spoken variations of the main language? And if there are different dialects, can people understand each other? Do people make fun of each other?
Yeah, there are a lot of dialects in Bulgaria. It's pretty much every different county, it's having its own dialect. As close as the county is near my hometown, the better understanding I have through their words. But let's say because I'm living in like southish area of Bulgaria, it's pretty easy for me to understand most of the south part. But let's say if we go northwest of Bulgaria, this is like honestly, this is like a different country. You can still understand them, but they are using different words for like simple things. It will never cross your mind to use those words for those things. Let's say you're going to a coffee shop and you're sitting down and you're ordering some juice, let's say juice, and you're ordering in my part of Bulgaria, you will order that juice with a straw. In North Bulgaria, they will order that juice with a pipe or a hose. And this is the thing. You will never think to use like a pipe or a hose for the word of straw. And you're just looking at them like, what do you need with your juice? Usually when you meet someone with a different dialect, in the beginning there is always some kind of like a mutual talking, like you don't use a lot of dialect words so that the two people can understand each other. But once that mutual agreement finished, they're starting to use dialect words. And of course, after each dialect word, there is quite a long explanation. Why the hell did you say that? And what the hell does that mean? I mean, we can understand each other. It's a bit difficult from time to time, but we can understand each other.
Okay, so let's move on to the food section.
Of course, you have no patience to get there.
How much you know me. Okay. So could you tell us what is a popular street food, grab-to-go food in your hometown?
Yes, we don't have specifically like a street food in my hometown. It is a street food in Bulgaria. I mean, it's literally from border to border, from the four pointers of the world, it's from the south to the north, from the east to the west. It is literally everywhere in Bulgaria. So it's like a cheese pastry. But when I say cheese, please don't imagine anything like cheddar or mozzarella. It is really similar to the feta cheese, but instead of being made from sheep and goat milk, it's made from cow's milk. And you can crumble it. It's crumbable cheese, and it is really, really nice. Everybody in Bulgaria is loving it. Also, there is something else what I think you can find mostly in Bulgaria, maybe some other Slavic country as well. So meatballs, barbecued meatballs, or like barbecued mince rollers, or juicy chicken fillet as well, barbecued. We can put it in a bun with different salads, like a cabbage salad, a potato salad, some mayonnaise, and Martenitsa with beans. You're stuffing all of that in a really nice bun, and you can eat that like grab and go. I mean, you're literally going there, ordering, they're just passing it over to you, and you're bye-bye. You're going and you're eating. It is really nice. That's why like a really big part of the Bulgarian population is overweighted now, but really good stuff.
That's the problem, I think, with all the countries that have good food. Oh, maybe not, because, well, there are other countries that don't have nice cuisine, but they're still overweight, right?
Yeah.
If I would ask like a common snack, if, for example, somebody is hungry, what are some common snacks they can make? Or for children, I don't know.
Well, we don't really make what the people are understanding from snacks. What we can make, like for an afternoon, how they're calling it, breakfast here. Usually it's called afternoon tea, but here it's like afternoon breakfast.
What is this?
Well, I don't know. You can just make a different type of cake, different type of dessert, different type of chocolate. It doesn't really matter. It's everything different. It might be like a cream, like a homemade custard cream. It might be like a cake, like a carrot cake or a lemon cake or like brownies or something like that. I mean, this is something with what people here would feed their kids. There is not going to be an apple. There is not going to be a celery steak. There is not going to be like a carrot or a hummus. I mean, here the people, when the kids woke up after their afternoon nap, they would definitely stuff them with a lot of sugar.
I see, I see. So something like a sweet treat to be at the house.
Yeah, it is something like a sweet treat, but I have no idea why would the people do that. You don't want to stuff your child with with sugar, but this is what is actually happening here. If you want to buy a savory snack, you can always go and buy something crunchy from the shop, you know. I don't know, do you in Greece eat sunflower seeds? But here in Bulgaria, we are eating it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, we do as well.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice. Could you describe to us a traditional dish?
Okay, there are like a lot of traditional dishes. So we do have bean soup, which is not really a soup because in the end it's coming so thick that you can actually eat it with a fork. It's like beans with chopped carrots, chopped onions. There is mint in it, a bit of mint, and all of that is like boiling. And after that, you're putting a bit of flour in it, like a 1 spoon with flour through the whole pot. It can get a bit thicker than it usually is. How I usually will make that meal, I will do some nice smoked pork ribs to boil with the beans. So it's giving like the whole dish a nice meaty smoked flavor. You can't change that. And through the whole thing, like 15 minutes before getting ready, I am taking dry peppers. So what we are doing is like we're having dried peppers and I'm adding it to the dish so that it can just give that extra flavor to it. And it's really, really tasty. I know that the people will say like that's them beans. It's nothing particular, but it is amazing. It is amazing.
No, actually, it sounds very tasty, and I would definitely want to try that one.
Yeah, well, we do have other things what are really nice, but the most typical thing about Bulgaria is the summer soup. It is a summer soup. It's served cold, and quite a lot of foreigners don't want to try it. We have quite a few soups what the foreigners don't want to try it. So the cold soup, we can make it through the whole year. Usually the people will say it's only for the summer, and that's because once upon a time, the cucumbers used to be used only in the summer because you can't find any in the winter. But nowadays, you can make that all the time. So what you need, 1 nice pot of yogurt, you need 1 cucumber, you need fresh dill, garlic, a bit of olive oil, and a bit of walnuts. You will dice the carrot really nicely on small pieces. That's why I'm saying diced. You will add that to like a big pot. You will shake the yogurt, and after that you will put water in it so that it can become like a juice. You will add chopped garlic or paste garlic. You will chop the dill really well, and you will mash the walnuts so that they can become like teeny tiny pieces. Salt, oil, 2 hours in the fridge and you're done. You can eat.
Is the texture like a runny yogurt? How is it?
The texture is pretty much as you like it. Some people prefer it a bit thicker. I am from the people who are preferring it a bit thinner. If anyone else tried the Turkish ayran, it should be the same consistency. It shouldn't be that thick.
Mm-hmm. It sounds really refreshing for the summer, actually.
It is really refreshing. I mean, when it's like 40 and more degrees outside, you definitely need that. And quite a lot of Bulgarian people like to drink that with plomari, like a ouzo. And the other typical Bulgarian soup, I've never heard anyone else eating that, is stomach soup. It is made from a stomach of a young animal. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be a lamb or a cow. It doesn't really matter as long as it's a young animal, so the stomach it will not smell, because in the other way it's going to be really disgusting. No foreigners want to try that. No one, literally no one. And even half of the Bulgarians don't want to eat it. It's typical in the Bulgarian cuisine so that we can use the insides of an animal. Because we're already making a slaughter, just use the whole thing. Making like different things, those dry sausages. Looking really similar to the chorizo, we can make those at home, and we are using the whole animal. We're using a meat from the whole animal, including the insides, the guts and stuff.
And last question of this section. What kind of edible products usually exists in a household in Bulgaria? I assume this white cheese from cow that you said is something typical. Any other?
Yogurt, Bulgarian yogurt, not Greek yogurt. Sorry, my friend. There is always going to be cheese, normal cheese. There is always going to be fresh milk, bread, onions, definitely onions. I would say onions. Every single household there is onions, garlic, meat. It's not going to be fresh meat. I mean, it's not really often to have fresh meat in the fridge without being cooked or without being defrosted. But if you open the freezer, it's going to be top to bottom, all full with meat.
I would like to ask you some questions regarding multiculturalism and living next to people of different cultures.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask if it took you a while when you first came in the UK to get used to live next to people of different cultural background, and if there was anything that you found it strange at the beginning.
I can't say that I found anything strange. I can say that I found it interesting and I was curious about it. So I've never hesitated to ask questions about it, and of course I've never offended anyone. I've never intended to offend anyone. I like by asking the cultural questions is just my simple curiosity, what they're making different, how they're making it different, what is the reason behind it, and everything like that. But I've never found it strange. I most likely found it fascinating.
Okay. So now that you moved back home,
Yeah.
is there any cultural behavior or habit that you used to have before you moved to the UK, and now that you went back to Bulgaria, you don't have it anymore, or you find it hard to adjust to?
Yes, I am actually finding really hard to adjust that I don't have so many cuisines around me. You have no idea how hard is that. I mean, I really want to enjoy some nice sushi at the moment, but there is no nice sushi around me. I mean, it's not really cultural. It's pretty much just a daily life, how all those cultural things in UK actually became part of a daily life. They're not cultural anymore. They're part of everybody's life. It's nothing different, actually. Next to my place in Nottingham, there it was like an Orthodox church. It was Greek Orthodox church. So I was really used to it, to see Greeks coming every single Sunday, lighting a candle inside, maybe saying a prayer. It wasn't indifferent for me, as I was having colleagues celebrating the month of Ramadan. So around them, I didn't find it strange. I didn't start doing it as them, but I was a bit cautious because, as you know, in Ramadan they don't eat during the sun is up. So I mean, the last thing what I wanted to do is to make them uncomfortable if I'm eating around them. But those were like, I mean, if you're doing that for a month, for you it's just getting normal. I mean, you don't want to be inconvenient to the people around you, especially. I mean, not everywhere, not in UK, not back in Bulgaria. I mean, I don't want to be inconvenient for the people. Those things are in UK specifically, they're coming to day-to-day life. As here in Bulgaria, it's not really like that, as you know, we don't have so many nationalities here. We don't have so many races, we don't have so many things like that. So I'm definitely gonna miss that, like having the different around me, you know, different things, not what I'm used to it every day.
It's really nice that you spoke about respect to other cultures. My next question was, what does it mean for you, let's say, to live in a multicultural society? And you already mentioned the respect to other people, but I'd like to hear some more.
Well, I mean, it is a respect of other people, and it is an information about their cultures and stuff. As you know, even if I don't have any degree like in history, in cultural differences in different races and things like that, it is still really interesting to learn how the other people are living around the world, you know, what is normal for them to do every day, what is really strange for us, let's say, and things like that. It's just making life more exciting.
I agree with you. And I wanted to ask, according to your opinion, of course, there are many people that fear that in multicultural societies, the way of living affects individuals and perhaps their cultural identity. And worst case is they start hating other people. So, according to your opinion, to what extent do multicultural societies affect individuals in their cultural identity, let's say?
Uh, I mean, this is a bit too political, to be honest.
We don't need to put it into political level, let's say.
Well, I don't think that there should be any thread between different cultures living living in the same city, let's say, or in the same place. Or, I mean, this is your cultural mind. If you want to follow your traditions, and if your traditions make sense, let's say, there is no reason for you to abandon them. There is no reason for you to abandon them. If you like your tradition, if you're proud with your nation, just keep doing them. I mean, me as a Bulgarian, I am following a lot of traditions, but as a sensible human, I abandoned quite a lot of traditions as well. For instance, we are expecting a holiday coming now. It's a forgiveness holiday. It's like a forgiveness week, and we will start. It's not like fasting, like a fasting, but you will stop the meat. After that, you stop all the animal products until Easter, and during that time, the people are lighting fires out on the streets. Unfortunately, quite a lot of people are lighting tires instead of normal fires with branches and wood and rubbish. Let's say you collected rubbish from the street, just burn it out. Unfortunately, they're lighting tires, like car tires, and the tradition is you need to jump over the fire. For me, this is really silly tradition because can you imagine yourself jumping over a pile of tires? Do you know how that thing is burning? I mean, for me, this is ridiculous for me just to try to do that. Probably I'll burn myself like.
Yeah, it sounds dangerous, yeah.
I mean, that's something sensible for me to stop doing. When I was a kid, when like you light a really tiny fire, let's say like from matches, you light a stick from a matches, you can jump over that. Yeah, you can jump over those things. But if you make like a massive pile, just no, please don't jump over it.
We have actually a similar tradition when we celebrate Saint John. We light fires, let's say, into neighborhoods, and then the children just jump above the fire. But yeah, I get what you say, that there are some traditions that or customs that it's good to acknowledge them, but they can stay in the past. It won't, if even if we abandon them, this will not change who we are. And I think that getting familiar with other cultures actually help you see some better ways of doing things and maybe be more critical towards things that you used to follow without thinking of why I'm doing this.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and to end our conversation, could you say a few things that a tourist should do if they travel to Bulgaria or into your hometown in order for them to experience the culture?
Okay, if they decide to visit my hometown, they definitely need to go to the Forest Park, Hisaruluka. They definitely need to go and visit the art gallery in my city. It is having an amazing art gallery. They can even buy some artwork from it. I mean, it is quite expensive though. That's why I've never mentioned it as you can go and buy on the festivals, because we're talking about serious money over there. But if someone can afford it, why not? It is a great memory. What else you can do? If you come during the summer, you can always visit some of the village festivals as long as it's no fast according to the church calendar, because all the festivals are according to the church calendar. They can always make trips around their great caves, great mountains, great parks, monasteries, into the whole country. Well, I mean, I'm not talking just about my city. If you visit just my city, you'll probably be really bored. I mean, let's say you're going for a 10 days of holiday in Bulgaria. Don't go just in my city. I love my city. It's really nice. But if you're a tourist, you can spend it like 2 days and after that just move on to the next place. And there, a lot of beautiful places. I specifically love one city. It's in north of Bulgaria. It's Koprivnica. It is a city home of revolutionaries, people who fight for Bulgarian freedom and stuff. They're great poets and great stuff. You can just go there to see the old way of things, as most of the cities, as I'm living near the capital, so the city is quite modernized. You can't see anything what you didn't see, let's say London and things like that. But go there, you can see the old ways. Last time when I was there were only 2 cars in the whole city. Only 2 cars. And the bus with what we went there. We were on a school trip, but there were only 2 cars in the whole city. That was like living in a dream. Forget about Wi-Fi, forget about internet. Just go and enjoy. I mean, that's amazing.
Is this actually a tourist place or not really?
It is, yeah.
Wow. And final question, please teach us a word or a phrase to say if we ever come across to a Bulgarian person.
Okay. Well, you can always say zdravей.
Zdravей.
Yes, which means hello. You can always say dobar den, which is good afternoon. And depends what you want to say to that person. If you meet someone, it's zdravей, приятел, здрасти, как си, something like that. It means hello, buddy. How have you been?
Emilia, thank you so much. This conversation was really interesting. I really loved all the information you mentioned.
Well, you can always speak with Dimitar. He's the one with the history degree. He will know more.
No. That was great. Thank you so much for everything.
You're very welcome, Sissy.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.